Good afternoon. We are continuing here with our Tradewind Member Showcase Navy Edition. This is the Joint Logistics track, and our next presentation is by Team Sensalyze. Our speakers are Anand Das and John Haima, and let me invite John on stage as well. Take it away.
Thank you, Marika. And, would like to thank the Tradewind and the Jade team for giving us an opportunity today to present. With me is John Haima. So I'm going to very quickly bring up the team slide. Um, so at Sensalyze, we have this core team. Very quickly about myself, 30 plus years of experience in technology. I was in Silicon Valley for about 15 years, and then raised some venture capital to start an IoT company in 2001. And most of the work was in the Defense Department. In fact, worked very closely with John Haima, who was the senior vice president at SAIC at that time since 2001. Both of us, have deployed multiple mission critical logistical system across the DoD. The other members of the technology team is Shobir Acharya, who is an expert in horizontal AI and things like infrastructure as a code, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, and then Arup Acharya, who was with IBM for about 30 plus years, and a world-class expert in vertical AI and with AI algorithms. We are a small business based in Leesburg, Virginia, so very close to Washington D.C. And we have been delivering digital transformation and AI ML consulting services since 2014. I'm also let John, because he has got deep experience with the Navy, talk a little bit about himself. John? And John, you may be on mute, so if you're speaking.
Sorry. So the background that I bring is 20 years Navy logistics, Navy Supply Corps, and then 24 years at SAIC. And then since I retired from SAIC, I've been working with Anand and his company and bringing my knowledge from the projects that we worked on both together and separately over those many years together. That's it.
Thank you, John. Um, so, so one thing we wanted to mention about Sensalyze is we have this team of technical experts that know AI/ML very well, and we have also assembled very senior member from the Navy logistics team like John Haima, and we are here to collaborate and work on Navy business problems. With respect to this slide, DevSecOps and ML ops is something that's becoming critical for continuous training, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and that's that's right in the sweet spot that Sensalyze brings to the Navy. And one big benefit that I want to mention is infrastructure as a code is something we understand very well, and we have this ability to deploy across the hyperscalers. So there is no dependency on an Azure or GCP or an AWS. In fact, we have gotten built some links with Lincoln Labs OA4 AI platform, which is also working very closely to integrate with JADC2. And the benefit of that is sometimes it may not be as expensive as deploying it on a hyperscaler. This team also has had a relationship with NVIDIA for a long time. Some of the core AI engineers that we have, they've been working on CUDA, since the 2000s. So very familiar with the NVIDIA infrastructure and also the NVIDIA Omniverse infrastructure. It's very good to know that NVIDIA is a sponsor of of this conference. Moving on, there, especially with this global connectivity, in the cloud, with edge services at the tactical edge, and also the availability of links. I mean, some of these links are not very broad, but these links are now available, pretty much worldwide. There is an ability to do AI ML at the edge, and clearly there's not as much compute at the edge. We have the ability to uh, to train the infrastructure, uh, train the algorithms in the cloud, and then deploy it at the edge, and also set up those feedback loops, if you will, uh, using the ML ops infrastructure that we have experience with. So these are some of the use cases which we think would be very applicable to Navy logistics. Um, this team, and I mentioned with John at SAIC. John and I have actually worked in this area for a very long time. I wanted to also mention that as part of my Navy work, I was the global RFID lead for Navy ERP. Deep deep knowledge of ERP, the data structures there, and what we have noticed, especially if you're doing AI ML, uh, the data prep is the important piece. In fact, some of the AI projects that that we have completed. If it's a team of 10 people, there's one guy who's doing algorithm, but there are roughly about 9 people who are working on the data prep and data wrangling. And feature engineering is something that's very important, especially when you're working with logistics data. If you look at Navy ERP, the SAP there has almost about 80,000 tables, and this team has a very good understanding of those data structures, of those entity relationship diagrams, and the ability to do, I think, feature engineering is going to be very important to make any of these projects successful. This is again, we bring in significant expertise from the commercial side. As I had mentioned, almost 15 years I was in Silicon Valley, and this partner that we are working with, we are piloting this use case on the commercial side, where there's an ability to work with the newer EV platforms and the AV platforms. The EV is electrical vehicle. The AV is the autonomous vehicle, and some of the newer platforms that are coming out, or the newer EV cars or the AV cars. I mean, AV, level 3 is not there yet, but these platforms have sensors deployed pretty much all through the vehicle, and we are piloting today with a big OEM, where we are able to get all the data in a canonical format in the cloud. And this could be fed back to the dealer network or to the OEMs. The use cases around insurance that are being explored. And so wanted to mention to the Navy that this is a solution which is ready and available, and it could be piloted with not just with vehicles. It's been deployed also widely within the industrial sector. So it could work with ships, with aviation platforms, and with with other industrial systems. This was a work that is ongoing with the U.S. Army, and we are working very closely with FN America. This is on the command and control side, where the war fighter and the weapon system that the war fighter has is bringing the situational awareness not just to the battlefield, but that tactical edge being connected to the cloud is going all the way back, to the backend systems. And so there is not just situational awareness, in the battlefield, but there is this global, visibility which is there. And we are actually actively working with FN, and in this case, the edge compute services, and the hyperscaler that we are working with is Microsoft Azure. And this solution has been piloted. It can also work with some of the Navy weapon systems that is available there. And this team is ready today to present the solution to you. Now, I wanted to also inject a blockchain a little bit here, because the blockchain is not directly tied to AI/ML. And roughly about 5 to 6 years back, there was a bunch of hype around blockchain, but today it's becoming real. What blockchain allows you to do, especially with AI/ML, as I had mentioned before, the data prep, the data wrangling, is very important. So the data quality and the integrity of data is critical for some of these AI/ML systems to be to be successful. And blockchain, brings that data quality and data integrity. This is a pilot that was, actually done for the Defense Logistics Agency. And again, was we work very closely with Microsoft Azure, where we use the permissioned Hyperledger network. It was not permissionless. It was permissioned because with federal agencies, I think it's going to be difficult having a decentralized infrastructure. We set up a node for DLA. We set up a node for this major supplier in the defense industrial base, and implemented the smart contract that was needed for some of the supply chain financing use cases. The idea is the capital from the bank, the working capital is much less cheaper than the capital which DLA has or the supplier has. So the use case was, if the supplier needs to receive payment, within 45 days, you can pay the supplier in less than a week. And, for an agency like a DLA or the Navy, which has to pay, let's say in 30 days or 45 days, it can be pushed out to 60 days or more, and there is still a win-win for every participant in this. So there is that benefit, but there is also the benefit that the data flowing through these different enterprises, the integrity and the data quality is maintained, and we bring that expertise to you. So within Navy logistics, both John and I have, decades of, experience, in logistics. And John actually comes from the Navy, and as I'd mentioned, both of us have, spent a lot of time within the Navy, business processes. These are some of the areas that we see um, that has very good use cases where Sensalyze can come in, and we can build the business case, build the strategy, do the design, the architecture, the implementation, and help make use of all this data that Navy has. There is, today, everything. There is data which is not being used, which can uh, be used for things like, for example, just to give a quick sense, some of the demand forecasting that happens is still based on statistical techniques that is not providing the right intelligence to the U.S. Navy. We can apply artificial intelligence techniques to give you much better granularity, much better prediction and forecasts that that would benefit the Navy. I have included the slide, and this is going back to a business problem that both at SAIC and at Sensalyze, we collaborated on very closely. This is we thought is very relevant in today's world, especially with the conflict that's going on in the European theater. That there is a need to have a collaborative um, logistics management with our NATO allies, and that is lacking today. And I think with AI/ML and with the connectivity here, there is an ability to look at the data sources, the worldwide data sources, identify the supply chain risks, and then build in these courses of action that could immediately apply actually in this to what's happening in the European theater. Now, clearly, John is much closer to that domain, and I'm going to let John talk a little bit about that. Mr.
So,
Haima, over
so
to
the
you.
key thing that we wanted to highlight was as you look at how to apply AI, ML, or supply chain management information, um, the idea of melding all the information is a key area that we tried to work on in the past. When you have to forecast fixed price for items that you're selling to DLA over a 10 to 20 year time period, it was important for us to properly forecast demand as well as interact with supply data in the context of understanding how we could meet ongoing requirements from military end users. And I think today's technology, both functionally and technology-wise, has furthered this, as you heard some of the previous speakers talk about. The idea of doing multi-echelon modeling is something that I've long been interested in, and would hope that in the future there will be more of that. Instead of doing discrete modeling at the wholesale or retail level or end use level, that they try to do multi-echelon modeling in some way. And the idea of applying that multi-echelon modeling in a collaborative logistics with foreign partners to minimize supply chain disruption for end users in theaters is an area that hasn't been serviced enough, at least in my way of thinking. That's probably enough here, Anand.
Thank you, John. I know that we don't have much time left here. I'm going to quickly jump to the very last slide, and say that this team brings in that Navy domain experience as well as the technology needed for a AI ML project to succeed. Clearly, there is the vertical AI side, which is the knowledge of the algorithm that's applicable to the Navy business problems. But there is also the horizontal piece, which is very critical as you're training and deploying some of these some of these models on constrained compute infrastructure, constrained compute, constrained storage, and constrained network. We have deep experience. Each of the core management team has over 30 years of technology experience, and we are ready and available today to help the Navy. Um, that is pretty much I'm at the end of my presentation. I look forward to working with the Navy, and we are available right here in the greater Washington DC area to help you with uh, I, I mean just initial discussions, but clearly there is uh, uh, this capability to help to support you worldwide. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much to Sensalyze. Thank you for being mindful of the time too. We will have our last 5-minute break and the last presentation at 3:35. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.